Victoria Grant, aka Tori, and today I will be giving you the exact 3 resources that I use to finally stop smoking weed. This is a method that can be used in other areas of life for habits which no longer serve you, whether it's food, alcohol, weed, cigarette, or another addiction. Before we dive right in, I just wanted to give you a brief backstory about me, just so you know where I'm coming from and what actually led me to the point of wanting to stop smoking weed. So I was raised in a single parent home in London with my mum and my 2 sisters. My mum was and still is a weed smoker up until today, and ever since I can remember I've been surrounded by people who smoked, whether it's weed or cigarettes. When I reached around the age 13, that's when I decided that I was going to try some. It didn't seem like anything that could possibly ruin me or distract me in life, and to be honest, I believed it was the cool thing to do. So I carried on smoking and, you know, hanging out with my friends till I was probably around 30. All my friends smoked, and as most of you know, weed is always been a lot more socially acceptable than other drugs such as maybe cocaine or heroin. So for a long time we really didn't see anything wrong with it, and because of this I feel like so many of us who smoke literally suffer in silence with the ongoing effects that it does have, like depression, you know, lack of enthusiasm, procrastination, memory loss, even paranoia. I mean, when I was younger, like, I had so many dreams and aspirations, but they never really come to like their full fruition. And in my early 20s, I suffered deep depression myself. I was homeless at 17, and at that point I really believed that the only thing that was keeping me sane was the weed. And if I'm honest with you guys, I didn't see any of the psychological effects or harm that it was having on me or any of my peers until probably early 30s, you know. I used the weed as most people who smoke weed do, which was, you know, to create, to ease stress, to socialize and take the edges off of life, not realizing then that the weed was playing a major role in what were the perceived stresses, as well as keeping me so calm that I was literally sleeping and not fulfilling my lifelong dreams. So it finally just got to a point where I was looking at myself, and the person I was being was no longer aligned with the purpose I'd created in my mind. There was conflict, and fundamentally I knew that if I wanted to live my best life, I needed to stop smoking. That was it. And so from then on in, after that kind of aha moment, I guess smoking weed just, it wasn't for me. It wasn't the same. I wasn't enjoying the spliffs like I had done in the past. Also, at that time, I was going through a massive self-love journey, finding myself on a deeper level, on a spiritual level, and exploring different aspects of who I was. And I knew that if I continued to indulge in certain activities, be it raving too much, drinking too much, hanging out with the wrong crowd, smoking weed, I would never get to experience the highest expression of myself or my full purpose that I was intended for in this lifetime, you know. And that was just way too much of a trade-off for me to even consider. And it was difficult, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it was a walk in a park. It definitely wasn't. But what I can tell you is that it was really worth it, and if I had to do it all over again, you know, I would in a heartbeat, and I recommend it. If you've got goals and aspirations that you're not reaching right now and you're smoking weed, that's probably the problem, you know, number one. So what were the resources that I used? Well, first and foremost, I visualized, a lot. I sat alone, I quieted my mind, I envisioned the future life that I wanted to live, and part of that visualization included my beautiful daughter. But I didn't smoke. In none of my future visions was I a smoker. And I also knew I didn't want my little girl to smoke. I didn't want her to have to experience what I was going through and, have to mature emotionally when she got to 30. No, thank you. And at that point, I then just convinced myself that if I continue to smoke weed, I would never meet my daughter. She would just be another unfulfilled dream, a manifestation that just wouldn't happen, and it would be my fault. I believed I had total control over my reality, and if I continued to do what I was doing, it just wouldn't manifest. So that became my why. And whys are really, really important, guys, when it comes to sticking to any decision. With a strong enough why, you'll always find a how, no problem. Now, the second resource that I found useful was exercise. I've always loved working out, so for me it was just a given to then throw myself into exercise even further. More going to the gym and working out at home as well when I couldn't get to the gym, using exercise DVDs, and yeah, there was just no excuse. Just I had to push myself mentally and physically. I'm sure that most of you know by now, exercise releases endorphins, which are like a natural ecstasy chemical that your own body produces, in turn, which creates happiness. It's a feeling of elation, and as a result of that, I started feeling really good about myself, and then that kind of became an addiction for me, but in a good way. And not only was I creating a great looking body, but it was also really good for my mental health. So it's really, really paramount to replace any habit that you want to change with a new one. Just make sure that the habit you're replacing is going to be healthy, and it's going to be something you enjoy, So whenever you feel a moment of weakness is coming on, there's another output for that energy, something else for you to focus that energy on, because we're all energy. Like I said, I would recommend something positive, something that is going to impact on your life long term, something that's aligned with the person you want to become. So do your visualizations, create the person in your mind who you're working towards, and do what they do. And last but definitely not least, I had faith. I was listening to Esther Hicks every day. If you know, you know, Abraham. And if you don't, I'll leave a link in the description below for Esther Hicks's channel. I also believed that even though I was going through what seemed like hell, I had to go through it to grow through it. Yeah? And there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I love the saying that this too will pass, and I'm a strong believer that there's a great force in my life and in your life as well. Call it God, call it source, whatever you want to call it, pure positive energy, and it works for us in different ways. It's what keeps this planet going. So I stayed prayed up, focused on my gratitude and all of my blessings, and saw the challenge to stop smoking weed as a test for me to pass, so that I could literally level up my whole life. Now, I know some of you may be wondering if I ever have times where I want to smoke. But honestly, I think the worst non-smokers are ex-smokers. I remember when I first decided to stop smoking, I was so scared that I would have no friends. I wouldn't be able to visit my mum, my sister, and that all non-smokers were boring, right? What did they do? What did they do for fun? But trust me when I say, looking back at it now, it's completely the other way around. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I love my friends and my family that still do smoke, but I don't miss it at all. If you do decide to give up smoking though, or any other addiction for that matter, believe me when I say some of your relationships will be tested, guys, big style. Overall, people don't like change, that's a given, especially when they're used to knowing you as a certain type of person. So don't be surprised or offended if some of your loved ones become a bit upset or frustrated with you. Just bless them and focus on your outcome. It's a challenge for you, it's also a challenge for them. You can still love them, but you're changing, and that's fine. So just fill your time up by reading some positive books. I'll leave a link down below to my book Habits, which is available to download for free at Amazon Kindle. Or indeed listen to some uplifting audios or music if that's more your thing. delete, erase and block the weed man's number. Yeah, trust me, you've made him rich enough by now. And above all, just have patience. You know, you're so much stronger than your addiction, guys, and it's time you take back your power. Don't you want to experience a life on earth where you don't smoke, where you can actually get a high through meditation and prayer? It works, honestly. So yeah, if you're really serious about making a change, then make sure you write down your why, just to recap, and keep it to hand, maybe in your notes on your phone. Read it day and night, or whenever you may feel tempted to relapse. Make sure you replace your old habit with a new, healthier habit, and above all, have faith. Be determined, you're strong, and your best life is worth it. You're worth it, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed and found value in this video, guys. I've really enjoyed giving it to you straight from the heart, honest as it is. You know, I've been through it, so I'm speaking from experience here. If you've got any habits that you've tried to overcome yourself, did you succeed? If so, what were your methods? Please share them in the comments below so that we can all help each other. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a video, and I'll see you soon.